Hey everybody, we're right back at it. This time, we're breaking down college football, Big Ten
So
conference.
join us on the Boss and the Sauce show right now. Sparta! Yes, sir. Right here on Michigan State. Nothing but good things to say about Michigan State. Senior-led offense, senior-led defensive line, senior quarterback. They bringing back 8 on offense, 8 on defense, and a few other players coming off a 7-6 season. Michigan State must raise their average of 342 yards per game. The offense must figure out how to stay on the field and sometimes even score to keep that defense off the field and rested. They always have a solid defense. They have some solid players to go along with it, but the offense can't move the ball long enough for them to catch a breather. They're going to be right back to where they started. Now, on defense, they do return 8 on defense. They were excellent against the run last year, but they must pay more attention to the pass this year. So I have a lot of optimism for Michigan State this year. I feel that a lot of times they're just their own worst enemies. They've had good teams before, and they're going to continue to recruit well and have good teams. Is this the team that's going to take them over the top? Let's talk to my man BigRagoo about that. BigRagoo.
Yeah, DJ, you hit a lot of key points on the talent on this team. They've got the talent. They've got the players, there's no question, but they shoot themselves in the foot year in, year out. Defensive side of the ball is their strength, no doubt about that. On the offensive side, quarterback Brian Lewerke, he's a senior quarterback. He's a pretty solid player. He's a leader of the team, but their issue is, keeping drives going and sustaining and, keeping the ball out of the other team's hands, trying to keep their defense off the field. Like you said, that's a bad look for these guys. And speaking of the defense, they had former walk-on Kenny Wilkes. He led the country in rushing the sacks last year with 23 quarterback hits, 23. So he's a defensive end. He's probably a prospect draft pick the upcoming year. But if this team doesn't figure out how to finish drives off and score points, they're going to get a lot more of the same that they had last year. Now, they are a pretty good program. They always field the winning squad. That's without question. Mark D'Antoni always puts a good, solid product on the field. He's a well-coached, very knowledgeable coach, coaches his kids up. But, they just seem like they can't get over the hump. Like you said, they just keep shooting themselves in the foot. So we'll see what they do on the field this year. They got the tough schedule that they always play, on the east side of the Big Ten. And we'll see how they wind up come the end of the season.
Well, coming off a 7-6 last year, some of those games were some tight games. They do say defense wins game, but like I said before, not if the offense can't keep the defense off the field. Look, they lost to Oregon in the bowl game 6-7. They lost to Nebraska 6-9. Just defensive played excellent in those games. Just not enough offense to make a difference. They kind of remind me of your drunk uncle that used to be like a top athlete or something, and he was always his best role model. But as he got older, he just stumbles over his own foots, and that's what Michigan State's been doing for a while right here. But 7-6, they got to do better than that. But out of the 4 big games they play, Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Penn State, I only see them winning 2 of those 4. And I see, at best, a 9-3 season for Sparta. What you think? Any last words, BigRagoo?
Yeah, I'm looking like about 8-4 overall season for these guys. The out-of-conference game, they start out with Tulsa week 1. Then they play Western Michigan. And then these are all at home, too, by the way. Then they take on Arizona State, where Arizona State is an up-and-coming program coached by Herm Edwards. So that might be an L for them there. And then they got to travel on the road to Northwestern. So they could very well be 2-2 or 3-1 or maybe 1-3. depending on how they
Now,
play.
did we got a lineup on that Tulsa game yet?
The Tulsa game, let's see. That's an interesting question. They're playing, what day did I say they're playing? The 30th? Yeah, August 30th. They're playing Tulsa. Right now, they're 21.5-point favorite at home, Michigan State.
That's going to be a tough one right there. Now, we have took a look at Tulsa. Tulsa has a live returning. They may be fired up. I think I might side with that plus 21 on that one, BigRagoo. But we'll talk more about first game matchups at the end of the program here. But this is the Boss and the Sauce Show, and we just brought you Michigan State. Now let's get to the next team.